Hello everyone, my name is Heather Hudson and today we're going to talk about the electoral college system versus the popular vote. So first of all, I go to the polls and I vote because that's my right to. And you go to the polls and you vote because that is your right to. But honestly, is our vote really counting? So this is what we're going to argue today. First of all, according to Judith Best, I used her system for explaining this electoral college. So I believe that we should implement a system that does proportional electoral votes by each state. In meaning, what this means is today, what happens is the electoral college system that we have in place ultimately determines the President of the United States. What I think we should reform is if a candidate takes an electoral state, I believe that they should take whatever they win. They should take, if they win 50% of electoral votes, I believe they should take 50% home of electoral votes, not a winner-takes-all mechanism. And that's what it is currently in place now, is a winner-take-all. I do not believe that's fair. I believe the other candidate, if it was a 60-40, whoever won 40 takes 40 home, whoever won 60 takes 60 home. I believe that is the fair way to run the election. Next, the election was designed for the people, by the people. It was not designed for the electors to determine the leader of the United States. It was not set up that way. So here are some reasons, too, to be against the electoral college by itself. I'm not saying we should do away with electoral college. I believe it works some ways, but I think that we should just reform it a little. I disapprove of the electoral college by itself determining the President of the United States. So here are some ways. First of all, slide 3 that is in my PowerPoint, I have found the latest results of this past election with Obama and Mitt Romney. I've got those results on there, and that is slide 3 of the Electoral College, who took what state in the total. So one thing that can happen is the possibility of electing a minority president can happen with this Electoral College. According to Walter Burns, one way in which a minority president could be elected is if the country were deeply divided politically, that 3 or more presidential candidates split the electoral votes among them so that no one could receive the majority. That's one way. Another way is a third way is of electing a minority president is if a third party or candidate drew enough votes from the other two that no one could receive over 50% of the national popular vote. That's another way. So next, we also risk the so-called faithless electors. A faithless elector is one who has pledged their vote for one candidate and votes another way. That's a faithless elector. Next is what I believe what's happening now is the decrease in voter turnout during the election polls. People are being discouraged because they think that their vote does not count. And next, the Electoral College failure to accurately reflect the national popular will. And what this is what I was talking about earlier. It's the take-all mechanism. This is what this is talking about. Where if the vote should not be a take-all mechanism, it should be what they win. I believe that's fair. Also, the Electoral College reinforces a two-party system. It discourages a third party. And so that restricts choices to the electorate. Next, the I believe that the current system does not support democracy. So, and that being said, if we are not supporting democracy, that tends to lead me on to communistic values. So we need to be aggressive towards this reformation. According to Lawrence Longley, the example of the 2000 election between George Bush and Al Gore is a perfect example. Al Gore won the popular vote by more than 1 million votes, did not win the presidency. George Bush did because he won the electoral vote. I believe we could have done something different there. There should have been something else in place. So I just think that's a great example of we need a reformation with this voting system. According to the CBS News report, the 2012 election surpassed $400 million. This past election went over $400 million. So we need to decrease the amount of money that is being spent on the political party campaigns. I believe there's so much more, so many other places that money could have went and it needed to go besides the campaign. I believe that's really true. We could also install an electoral reform society to manage the election. They actually used to use that in another country. Great Britain, they used to use it, and it's one of the oldest systems that they had. So I believe that we need to establish something to manage this, to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So finally, all voters, we all need to visualize how the election should take place. All voters should be confident when they go to the polls that their vote counts. And lastly, Americans must voice their concerns. We must voice our concerns. We can't sit here and just let things happen. So we must form petitions, rallies, or other means of ways to demand what we need and what we want. Go to your local government. Go to your federal government. Write to them. That's any elected official that you can talk to. That's what we must do for our voice to be heard. And we must not stop until we are heard. So I appreciate everyone listening to this, and I hope you listen to yours and have a wonderful day. Thank you.